and welcome to Inside the XFL here. JP with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. Well, Coach, Week 5 is finally over. We are at the halfway point of the XFL regular season, and what a Week 5 it was. A lot of surprises, some teams getting back on track, some people being benched that maybe we did not see coming at all, and just overall, what a great week. And, Coach, one thing I want to make note is I seem to always make this note, but it's honest when you look at this. The football is getting better and better every week. We see surprises, which I think is great for the league. It's, if anything, this XFL season has proved that any team at any time can win a football game.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's very evenly matched, and you're right. Play is getting, I think, a little better each week. It's a good product they're putting out there. Now, I will say this. I think the quarterback play will certainly show the biggest increases during the weeks, and that'll get better. But remember, as other quarterbacks come into the league, this is going to be upgraded tremendous amount over the next few months and into next year. So just be prepared for that. You're going to see some exceptional quarterback play here at some point.
Coach, my question to you on that note, since you said that, and like I've said before, you've played at the highest level, Coach. You played at Florida. You've seen that. You've been in that situation. When you look at the XFL, is this becoming a polarizing option for some guys that may not be that first-round guy, maybe an opportunity, maybe a mid-round, third- or fourth-round pick for some of these guys to go in here and prove their worth, or maybe those free agent guys, some of these. But what I'm saying here is for the XFL overall, is this becoming polarizing to other players in general?
Polarizing? No, I'm not sure there what the intent is, JP. But I will say this: it's going to be an attractive alternative for many players. Okay, in all positions, but in particular the quarterback position. If you are a young quarterback, and given the scenario that you just laid out, drafted late or middle round to late, and you know that you're ending up on a football team where they're 3 or 4 deep already, it could be an attractive alternative to go ahead and sign with the XFL and play. You have a chance to play, get in and make it a great experience and a learning experience, and you become a better quarterback, and you get noticed, and you get a better chance to play when you go back. And over the years, look at what people have done with the Canadian League, for example, whether it's a Joe Theismann or a Warren Moon, and then Warner with the indoor league and all that. So it's a great opportunity for that to happen. It's a good opportunity for almost any position. And here's another one too. It's a good opportunity for coaches. And this will be, I predict, a good maturation process for a lot of coaches.
Absolutely, Coach. And we've seen a lot of good coaches get their opportunity now. And some of them have, well, not flatlined, but not been what we thought they were going to be, and some have just flourished. And, Coach, when you look at this, June Jones and his Houston Roughnecks took on Seattle Dragons. Of course, the Houston Roughnecks are now 5-0. They moved to 5-0 with a 32-23 victory over Seattle. For Seattle, they've played everybody tough. That's the thing when you look at this team in Seattle. They've made a couple changes. Of course, B.J. Daniels changing in at quarterback, going 14-22 for 114 yards. Adding 30 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on the ground, Coach. The Seattle battled, and they battled, and they battled. But when the Houston Roughnecks, Coach, P.J. Walker, 27 of 38, 351 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They just keep rolling. Cam Phillips, we talked about him before. His favorite target, had 10 receptions, 122 yards for 2 touchdowns. This is a guy that was leading the league in receiving touchdowns already, leading the league in the reception yards, period. Just receptions, anything you name it, Cam Phillips was the guy. Coach, when you look at this Houston Roughnecks squad and June Jones and what they've been able to do, they just seem like they just can't be stopped at this point.
Well, when the run and shoot first came into existence, really, that people were aware of, it just took over the sport for a while, for a year or two. Everybody wanted to go to the run and shoot. Not many people do the secret. June Jones was one of the first, along with, and I forget his coach's name at Portland State, where he played. June was a quarterback out there. And he learned it. He learned it well and did a good job. But here's what happens with the run and shoot. Like a lot of different offense, any offense, at a certain point, after they've had a chance to look at it, study it, and what they will start making adjustments to the run and shoot once these defensive coaches understand what is the key that they use to move that offense, move that passing game forward. And is it the read option inside? Is it the clear front and back pattern concept? Is it screen plus? I say screen plus the run off that. Now, whatever they do, whatever they decide the trigger is, they'll learn to take that away or make it difficult to get to, and they'll make it difficult then to get to certain matchups. Regardless, the run and shoot can move people around and make it difficult to get those matchups. But if you're going to play them and you play them right, you'll be able to line up defensively the way you want to. So anyway, that's just a few things that may happen to the run and shoot here as we go forward.
Coach, when you look at P.J. Walker, it seems to be the star, almost like the face of the league now. Of course, Landry Jones has been out, and he hasn't performed like we thought he would coming back, but there's still time in the season. But P.J. Walker, remember, this is a guy that Commissioner Oliver Luck came on the show and said, listen, the only reason we got P.J. was because his son, Andrew Luck, said that he was on the practice squad with the Colts and that he was just a star. He needed his opportunity. Well, he's gotten his opportunity in the XFL, which is what the XFL is. It's a compliment to the NFL, Coach. And when you look at this, again, another awesome year, or an awesome game, going 27 of 38 for 351 yards. That's over 70% completion percentage, throwing 3 more touchdown passes for a quarterback rating of 104. Coach, P.J. Walker, this is a guy that, when you look at it after this year, if you were, NFL scouts have already been in his games now. They've started showing up every week. This is a guy that this may be his last year in the XFL. He's done a great job.
Well, it could be, and this is what we're talking about, with that Zach Prescott better be careful. There are a lot of people out there, not only the free agents in the National Football League, but maybe certainly somebody like him coming in as well. But he could certainly be hot on the list of some teams. My guess is that they would probably like to get another year under his belt in this league, but and I would think that's probably what's going to happen.
Coach, the big drama in this game was actually, with 2 seconds left there in the fourth, P.J. Walker took a knee as the defense was bearing down on him, and with 2 seconds left, the ball should have been turned over to the Dragons on the 21, and they would have had one last-ditch effort. Remember, a 9-point game, this is the glory of the XFL, a 9-point game is still a one-possession game when you talk about the 3 extra point. So, Coach, with 2 seconds left, the XFL had admitted they made a mistake. The referee on the field said, no, that's ball game. They let the clock run out. They're running in there, and the supervisor had come out and said, well, we made a mistake. We should have brought the guys back out there, but we can't get everybody back out here. The game's over. We're going to leave it as it lied. Well, the XFL admitted their mistake a couple hours after the game, releasing a statement. They said they reassigned the officiating supervisor. Coach, in this situation, now, you told me before, you've been in that situation before. Them admitting their mistake, that's great, because sometimes the NFL, it takes them a while. But it doesn't mean much when you admit the mistake on the field and you say, well, we can't bring everybody back out here. The game's over. That's just almost like a slap in the face.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in this particular situation, I watched the game, there's no doubt in my mind they knew before everybody really got off the field. They may have been in the tunnel, but they knew in time to get everybody back on the field, and they should have. They should have gotten everybody back on the field and played that last play for the integrity of the game. Now, not many things has the XFL done wrong. They're doing it's almost uncanny how many good things they're doing and hitting on them, and the public is very accepting of it and likes it. as do I. I think it's refreshing what they're doing. But that was under there are two things, and we'll point out the good with the bad. Uh, there are two things that stands out, and the other thing I'm going to go back to is I wish they had some uniformity with the uniforms. It just looks ragtag to have somebody with material wrapped around their leg and another guy with socks half up, and that it doesn't. The appearance is not good. The uniforms are nice, other than that, but when you look at their from their knees down, it's not good. And you say, well, is that a big thing? Well, I guess you could say, well, it's not a big thing, but it is a big thing. To me, it is because it's a part of, what do you want to call it, class? You want to call it the preparedness of your football team overall. You look good, you play good, blah blah blah, on and on and on. That's just the way I was brought up. So, and I think to most people, it's pleasing to see something that's uniform in nature. But anyway, those are the things there. I got off on the stockings there, and I apologize about that. But that, along with what happened there, they should have gotten those people back on the field and had the last play.
Absolutely, and it's a heartbreak. Even though some people are saying, "Well, you know what? What's the percentage? It doesn't matter. They would have had their opportunity. It was a one-score game." So, nonetheless, they made a mistake. They're going to learn from it. But moving on, listen, we're up against a break. When we come back, we'll have the New York Guardians and Dallas breakdown along with the other Week 5 games, and Oliver Luck, commissioner, contributing to a beer snake. All that and more is coming back here on Inside the XFL on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Inside the XFL. JP here with you, alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon here, breaking down Week 5 of the XFL. We've already talked about the Houston Roughnecks and the Seattle Dragons here. Now we're going to move on, Coach, when we talk about this. This is, I think, was the biggest surprise of the week. I mean, Coach, the New York Guardians came into Dallas, and Dallas, of course, with Landry Jones, is out for 2 weeks. We saw Dallas Week 1 with Philip Nelson and how that kind of worked out. Philip Nelson didn't do bad, but he's just not the quarterback that Landry Jones. He doesn't bring the dynamic that Landry Jones does. And for the New York Guardians, Coach, well, when you look at the score, the Guardians took down the Renegades 30-12. You almost shake your head and go, how in the world did this happen? Coach, I want to start off here with a couple news and notes here. Ryan Mueller got the defensive end interception for a touchdown there, kind of started things. Luis Perez, of course, the old Division II quarterback, going 16-30 for 229 yards with a touchdown. And for Dallas Renegades, Philip Nelson, 28-49, 210 yards, 2 interceptions. Once again, without Landry Jones, as he has that knee injury there, Coach. When you look at the New York Guardians, this is exactly what they needed to get back on track. No Matt McGloin. They've kind of pushed past that point there, which I think good riddance for that. But the Dallas Renegades, they got to be kind of shaking their heads here going, uh-oh. I mean, even with Landry Jones, they struggled a little bit, but this is a completely different team than what we thought.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. I would agree with you totally. I certainly expected a bigger splash in the league with Dallas and Stoops with that defense. It just hasn't happened yet. Now, I think it will. I think they will certainly get to the point that they become very, very difficult to score on defensively. But offense, they've got a ways to go. Shore up that offense right now.
Coach, when you look at this, they held the New York Guardians held the Renegades to 56 yards rushing. Now, I understand the air raid's a little bit different, things like that. But when you have your quarterback, Philip Nelson, that it just, look, it's just not working right now for them. You think they would kind of fine-tune themselves a little bit differently. They have running backs like Lance Dunbar, who was a great running back in the NFL, did a great job with the Rams, and Cameron Artis-Payne, who made his living with the Carolina Panthers. These are two guys that have shown they can carry the rock, but it's almost like they got behind. They didn't worry about the running game anymore. They tried to throw it. In the Guardians, you got to give credit to the Guardians. They did everything they were supposed to do, going on the road like that, needing that big win. Everybody said, well, they have these 3 quarterbacks, but none of them can play. Luis Perez has done a good job. He's done what he's asked to do. And that rushing game for them doing really good. Darius Victor, Tim Cook, all those guys. What a phenomenal job and what a great game for the Guardians. But if you're the Dallas Renegades, you have got to wonder, where do we go from here? You still got another week with Landry Jones being out. It's going to be interesting to see where they move forward. Coach, I want to move on to the next game here, which was an offensive lapse here, if you want to say it that way. The St. Louis Battlehawks and DC Defenders. Well, DC came out 15-6 and won the ball game. Jordan Teamu for the St. Louis Battlehawks, 15-25 for 174 yards. For DC, I think the story, Coach, was Cardale Jones being benched. Now, Coach Pep Hamilton came out and said, well, this was going to happen. We had planned this. I don't know if that's true or not. Cardale Jones has struggled the past few weeks here, as had the DC Defenders. Listen, Coach, when you look at this game here, Tyree Jackson came in for the Defenders, going 9-14 for 39 yards, a touchdown, and ran the ball 7 times for 32 yards. It was a grinded-out style win. Great win for DC to go back to 3-2. The Battlehawks dropped to 3-2. When you look at this game, Coach, a little bit different than what we've seen here. A defensive grind-out team with 2 teams that came into this offensively looking pretty good. For DC, that defense able to shut the Battlehawks down was just phenomenal, though.
Yeah, you're right. I thought defensively they played very, very well. But you know what? Again, we talked about JP, the quarterback play in the league, and I think as you look, not at every team, but at 3 or 4 of the team, 2 or 3 of the teams anyway, they're probably going to have to upgrade quarterback play, and there may be 1 or 2 teams that have to go get a quarterback here off somewhere, bring them in, pay them. The league may have to pay them a little more or whatever, but that might be something that they want to look at doing over these last 5 games. It's it's a radical idea in some ways, but we're only talking about a couple. But if they go out and get a couple of quarterbacks to come in, it could help.
Yeah, absolutely. When you coach, you look at the DC Defenders here. This was a game they needed to win to get back on track here. The Battlehawks have been one of the hottest teams right now outside the Roughnecks in the XFL and kind of the surprise team. And the Defenders, they were more of a surprise on the bad end there when you're talking about they have not played the way we thought. Cardale Jones came into this, and everybody thought him and Landry Jones were going to be the face. Well, Cardale gets benched. Once again, Pep Hamilton came out and said Cardale's still our starter moving forward. I don't know how true that is. He's got some things he's got to get figured out here, Coach. And when you look at least the bright spots for the Defenders, running the football, Jarrell Presley, 15 attempts for 107 yards. They've got some good backs. They also have guys like Eli Rogers and Donnell Pumphrey. They've got the talent out there. The defense is good enough. They've just got to figure out this quarterback play because as your quarterback goes, so goes your team. And I think the XFL is proving that this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they got to watch, Cordell, too, has been maybe a little mouthy at times about some things that I'm sure his coach is not totally happy about.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Cardale Jones. Of course, Pep Hamilton, I think, has done a good job. They've just got to figure some things out right there with that quarterback position. But, Coach, I think we talk about the big surprise with the Guardians taking down the Renegades. Well, it was the offensive juggernaut that was the Los Angeles Wildcats and the Tampa Bay Vipers. The late game yesterday, 8 o'clock Central right here. Coach, the LA Wildcats come out 41-34 victors against the Vipers. We thought, this may be more of a grinded-out defensive-style game. I admit, Friday I had said that. I thought it was going to be a low-scoring game. But, Coach, when you look at this, Josh Johnson, we had Winston Moss on, and we asked him about Josh Johnson. He said he has just been a savior for them. Yeah. What a great guy. Of course, he's been a journeyman, been on 12 or 13 different NFL teams, and he is the nail in the coffin for him when you look at what a great guy to have on a team like that, to have experience where some of these guys are younger. Josh Johnson, of course, going 20 of 36 for 288 yards, 4 touchdowns and 1 interception, and also had 19 yards rushing on the ground. When you look at that, he was the difference in the game for him. With Jerry Glanville and his grits blitz, they struggled a little bit, Coach.
Yeah, they did. Now, he didn't totally commit to the grits blitz as much as he has.
It was Elvis Presley.
Oh, yeah. I think Elvis made some of those calls. But Jerry, I think, does a good job. A week before, he shut a team out, zipped them. That's huge, and especially in a new league like that. This week, obviously, they had some problems, but for the most part, they played fairly well, until the last part of the game. The sad thing was they get down, and we're talking about defenses now. When we're talking about the LA defense, you get down to the goal line. I think they were on about Tampa was on about the 6, 7, 8 yard line somewhere in there, and they go with their tight ends flexed and drop and throw. This is an old pass that everybody's had on the goal line. Get to the goal line, turn around with that big body, and if they don't play you just right, we'll hit you there. Well, what you have to do, you have to play them awfully tough defensively, and you have to put a curtain up around that goal line. They played back a little bit, gave them a free release, and then backed well into the end zone, which gave the tight end enough room to just turn around, go down and turn around right on the goal line, which would have been a touchdown. And unfortunately, the quarterback overthrows him, throws the ball high, and it ends up being an interception. It should have been a touchdown right there.
Yeah, Coach, when you look at this, I will say this for the Vipers. It was a bright spot. We talked about it, and I've made a joke before. Taylor Cornelius, the guy, a guy that nobody has a clue of. This was not supposed to be. Aaron Murray was supposed to be the guy for the Tampa Bay Vipers that everybody wanted to see. He was going to be the star. The Vipers were actually, in some places, the favorite to win the league before the season, for whatever that was worth. Taylor Cornelius, though, got to give him a shout-out. 22 of 34, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, even though he threw 2 interceptions. Not what you want to see there, but he also rushed for 7 times for 45 yards and a touchdown. Jaquez Patrick, of course, scoring on the ground for 7 yards, 23 yards right there, 7 attempts for 23 yards. Coach, if anything, when you look at the Tampa Bay Vipers here, they've struggled. That's an understatement at the beginning of the year. But scoring like this, have a game where Taylor Cornelius really shows out, almost gives you like a bright spot. Moving forward, this is what this league's all about. Nobody is out of playoff contention yet. There's still plenty of time. You got 5 more weeks left. That's the glory of this league, what makes it so much fun. All it takes is a team getting hot. Coach, I ask you with the Tampa Bay Vipers here, scoring 34 points is a bright spot, and Taylor Cornelius, you got to be excited with the quarterback right there. That's one thing when I look, it's going to be interesting to see, though. With Taylor Cornelius, Coach, I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's the best Tampa Bay has right now, but I don't say that negatively. I mean that moving forward for them, he has shown he can play that position.
Well, he came in and did a good job overall. We got to give him at least a B plus maybe. Yesterday he came in and, near the end of the ball game there, they'd been throwing all that dink stuff and running the football and whatever and underneath, trying to hit underneath, easy, simple passes, but they had to get downfield. And he did a pretty good job of understanding that and getting the ball into the void spots in the middle of that cover 2 zone defense they were in. He did a good job getting the ball in there and hit some receivers. Hit a corner, beautiful corner on the sideline, which is a good route against that cover 2. And then also inside with the tight end, he hit a couple of times, hit a slant there. So you have to give him credit. He did a good job, except for that last throw.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, the last thing I want to say before we're almost at the break here. XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck added a cup to the giant beer snake at the DC Defenders game, Coach. This is something the DC Defenders, their fans have done. I think it's funny, but they loved, everybody adored in the entire league, Oliver Luck going out there, shaking the cup, and going handing it to him right there. I think Oliver he's done a fantastic job with the XFL, and people love when you can have a commissioner that will come out there and join you guys.
Yeah, Oliver's a great guy. It's a good marketing piece. Great job of marketing.
Absolutely. Got to get the XFL Commissioner Luck Beer Snake Cup before they sell out. But, Coach, I know we run out of time. We have so much to talk about, but it's been a pleasure, my friend.
You bet. Look forward to tomorrow.
Well, that's Week 5 right there on Inside the XFL on ESPN Pensacola. Be sure to join us Friday at 12:30, same time.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM.